Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources on all the latest soap opera, well, seismic events, really, and give you what you absolutely need to know to navigate the drama. And today, we are plunging headfirst into Port Charles. The week of September 29th through October 3rd looks less like a normal week and more like, well, a 5-day plot detonation.
That's a good way to put it.
We're talking death, resurrection, and maybe the complete dismantling of the Quartermaine family legacy.
It's huge. Absolutely huge.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this. It feels like a massive convergence of storylines. We're looking at, what, 3 major interlocking arcs?
At least 3, yeah. They're all hitting at once.
First, there's the fallout from Monica Quartermaine's death. That's going to be incredibly high stakes, emotional, and legally messy, I imagine.
Oh, definitely. The legal side's about to explode.
Second, the return of Nathan West. Detective Nathan West. After 7 years, presumed dead. I mean, that's just shocking. Miraculous, maybe terrifying.
All of the above.
Yeah.
And raises so many questions.
Yeah.
How? Why now?
And third, Drew Kane. That sources are calling his behavior scummy, opportunistic. It sounds like he's really spiraling downwards.
Yeah, the language used in the sources is pretty blunt about Drew. It's not looking good for his character arc.
So our mission today for you listening is really to untangle these threads, figure out who's grabbing for power, who's grabbing for money, and pinpoint those specific character-defining bombshells hitting Port Charles this pivotal week.
And what's really fascinating, maybe orchestrated about it, is the sheer volume of high-stakes drama. It's all packed into these 5 days.
Usually they space this stuff out, right?
Exactly. A major crisis here, another one a month later. But the sources confirm this is all converging right on the Quartermaine family, literally at the estate and figuratively with their legacy.
A missing matriarch, well, now deceased matriarch, a murder investigation.
Right, an investigation that's wrecking multiple marriages. Then you've got, like, a zombie detective showing up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, crucially, this unexpected claimant to the entire family estate. The Quartermaines are genuinely facing, an existential threat this week.
And if this threat works?
If it succeeds, it could permanently redefine who controls Port Charles, who holds the power, the money. The stakes just couldn't be higher.
Okay, before we dive into the main week, the 29th onward, we need to set the stage. We have to look at those few crucial days right before it, September 24th to 26th. It's all about the lead up to Monica's memorial.
Yeah, that context is absolutely essential. What happens at the funeral directly fuels the chaos of the following week.
So we start with Tracy Quartermaine. She's missing. On Wednesday, the 24th, Ned Quartermaine is on a private jet having a very serious chat with his daughter, Brooke Lynn, BLQ.
And she's braced for bad news, tells him to spit it out.
Now, Tracy being missing is obviously a problem for the funeral. The speculation in the sources is that Ned and BLQ are flying off to actually find her.
And it's not like she just wandered off. The sources specifically say Tracy takes a risk on that same day, Wednesday.
When Tracy Quartermaine takes a risk, that usually means big trouble or big money.
Exactly. It's either a huge stock market play or she's confronting some kind of major threat to the family. And the timing is critical. They need her back fast for Monica's funeral.
She needs to attend, obviously, but maybe more importantly.
More importantly, she needs to be there to protect the estate. The vultures are always circling Quartermaine money. Her being missing now is significant.
Okay, but what kind of risk pulls Tracy away right before a family funeral? That feels very unlike her. Given what we know is coming with this Ronnie person, is it possible Tracy got some kind of warning, like a mysterious call, a legal document hinting at this estate problem, and she flew off preemptively to find counter evidence or maybe confront the threat head-on before it hits Port Charles?
That's exactly where the speculation points. It would be highly unusual for Tracy to be absent during a Quartermaine crisis like this. Her immediate, aggressive presence is usually the first line of defense for the estate.
Right.
So, the fact she's missing, taking a risk, leaving Ned and BLQ scrambling, it really suggests she might have launched some kind of preemptive strike against this legal threat.
And she often operates outside the rules, right? Which is why it's a risk.
Precisely. Finding her is step one. They need to secure the Quartermaine front line before this Ronnie character arrives and the legal war officially kicks off.
Okay, meanwhile, away from the jets and the legal maneuvering, there's the emotional toll. It's hitting the younger generation hard. Felicia Scorpio is apparently deeply worried about her son, James West.
And can you blame her? It's awful for him.
His mom, Maxie, is in a coma. That's already tragic. And now his father, Nathan West, the dad he's never even met, is suddenly back from the dead.
Yeah, the layers of trauma and just sheer confusion for that poor kid. It's immense.
It's too much.
It really is. And the sources gave us this incredibly poignant detail. It really brings home how this is affecting James's sort of surrogate family, too. He spends time with his uncle, Cody Bell.
Cody, who's been going through his own stuff with finding out Mac isn't his biological dad.
Exactly. Cody's grappling with what family means. And right in the middle of all this, James tells Cody he wishes Cody was his dad.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's gut-wrenching.
Absolutely. And think about Cody's headspace right now, dealing with his own identity, paternity. That statement is expected to hit him right in the heart, as the source puts it.
Yeah, I bet.
It's this really profound moment because James is reaching out for stability. He wants the man who's actually been there for him, not this biological father who's just suddenly reappeared and thrown his world into chaos.
It underscores that Nathan's return, while maybe miraculous for the adults.
For James, it's just more confusion, more instability.
Yeah.
And Cody, who's trying to find his own place, might be the only one who really understands that feeling right now.
Okay, let's shift to the memorial itself. This is the centerpiece setting up the big conflicts. Monica's funeral is set for Thursday and Friday, the 25th and 26th. First big detail. Rena Sofer is back, briefly, as Lois Cerullo, just for the funeral.
Yeah, short guest arc specifically for this.
And this isn't just a fun cameo, right? The sources are making a point that she's basically retired from acting, moved to New York.
Exactly, she's stepped away. So her coming back is rare, almost unprecedented, really. And it says a lot about the respect the show, and presumably Rena herself, has for Leslie Charleston and her legacy as Monica.
Lois's presence feels important, too. She connects the current Quartermaines, like BLQ, back to that sort of original, more grounded history.
Totally. Lois brought so much heart, so much passion into that often very stiff Quartermaine world. Her being there signals the writers really want this send-off for Monica to be monumental. Expect a huge celebration, lots of emotion, flashbacks covering decades of Leslie Charleston's work.
Now, speaking of history, there was a pretty strong feeling in the sources about who should not be there, or at least not be central.
Ah, yes, Sonny and Carly.
Right. We, and the sources seem to agree, are kind of hoping they aren't forced into the funeral too much. Why? Well, historically, their relationship with Monica and the Quartermaines, it was deeply contentious.
Understatement. Monica was often horrified by the violence and drama they dragged into the family.
Exactly. So the hope is this can be a true, pure Quartermaine goodbye. Not, Sonny standing awkwardly in the back while Carly makes a scene.
Precisely. For anyone trying to grasp the historical weight here, Monica represented the, let's say, ethical, medical, old money standard of Port Charles. Giving Sonny and Carly too much focus would just dilute that tribute.
But drama is definitely coming, invited or not. Friday, September 26th, right after the emotional peak of the tribute, we get the real bombshell, the one that sets up the whole next week.
Just when you think it's about remembrance.
An unexpected visitor shakes things up at the memorial. And the sources are pretty clear that this probably isn't just Drew, hobbling in from his hospital bed.
No, this is bigger, because the reveal is tied directly to Tracy and the Quartermaine family crypt.
The crypt.
Tracy, assuming she's back by then, sees this mysterious woman in the family crypt, a place reserved for, the core family members.
And Tracy being Tracy.
She demands to know who she is. And the visitor's answer. It launches the entire estate battle plot. She says she's Ronnie, Monica's sister.
Whoa, hang on. Monica's sister. But Monica was adopted by Gail Baldwin. Her whole story is tied to the Baldwins and then marrying Alan Quartermaine. Where does a biological sister suddenly come from?
And that is the absolute crucial legal point we have to zoom in on, because this is the engine driving the whole estate war.
Right.
Monica was adopted by Gail. Now, usually when someone's adopted, their legal rights to their biological family's estate might be severed, but it's not always clean-cut. It depends on when, where, the specifics of the adoption, and what assets are involved.
So Ronnie's arrival, potentially played by Erica Slezak's character, the sources speculate.
Which would be huge casting.
It creates an immediate, massive legal problem.
Massive.
So Ronnie isn't claiming the Quartermaine estate based on, Alan's money or Edward's ELQ shares?
Probably not directly. It's more likely she's claiming a link through Monica's biological parents or lineage.
Yeah.
Something that connects them to the assets in question.
Like maybe a piece of property. Or a trust that was set up for Monica or her biological family before the adoption and somehow got tangled up with Quartermaine holdings over the decades.
Exactly. If Ronnie can prove a biological connection, especially one tied to some pre-adoption estate detail, then the entire Quartermaine mansion, maybe even a chunk of the fortune, could suddenly be up for grabs, or at least seriously compromised.
Wow. Okay, so this takes what should be an emotional funeral and just instantly flips it into a high-stakes, multi-million-dollar legal war. Tracy versus a complete stranger with a potentially legitimate claim.
And it all starts in the family crypt. Perfect soap opera drama.
Okay, so we've got this external threat, Ronnie. Now let's pivot to the internal parasite, maybe, Drew Kane.
Harsh, but maybe fair, given what's coming.
He's recovering in the hospital. Gunshot wound. Jordan Ashford apparently tried to give him some advice, told him, use Monica's death as inspiration, be a better man, clean up his act.
Yeah, that advice. It seems to have gone in one ear and out the other immediately.
Oh, yeah.
The spoilers are really blunt here. Drew is about to do much worse.
Worse than getting shot and being involved in shady deals.
Apparently so. The sources stress he's getting lower and scummier. That exact phrase comes up. Instead of using this recovery time for, introspection or finding some moral compass,
He's focused on.
he is singularly focused on claiming a slice of the Quartermaine pie now that Monica's gone.
Okay, hold on. If Ronnie's claim is maybe legally complex but potentially valid, Drew's claim is, what is his claim?
Non-existent. Absolute zero legal standing.
He's not blood-related, he's not an heir, he's the result of a memory experiment. Even by soap opera logic, how does he possibly justify staking a claim on the inheritance?
He can't. Not legally. Unless Monica secretly adopted him as an adult, which seems incredibly unlikely based on the sources. So, Drew's desperate attempt here means he must be cooking up a whole new scheme, something probably illegal, definitely nefarious, to force his way into the will or maybe just leverage the chaos Ronnie's arrival creates.
He's planning to exploit the funeral chaos, the estate confusion.
Looks like it. This isn't about mourning Monica or preserving her legacy for him. It's pure opportunistic greed piled on top of the criminal investigation he's already facing.
Which brings us neatly to the most destructive scheme he's apparently got planned for this week. The PCPD is still investigating his shooting, yes, but also the judge's murder.
Correct. Two separate but linked investigations.
And Drew, laid up in the hospital but clearly plotting, is intensely focused on framing Michael Corinthos for that judge's murder. He's even hired Martin Gray, his lawyer, to help make it happen.
It's just stunning. A devastating betrayal. It's not just self-preservation anymore. This is an active attempt to destroy a family member, someone he claimed to care about.
So how does he plan to do it? What's the mechanism?
It hinges on Michael's alibi. The critical piece of Michael's defense against the judge's murder charge rests entirely on one person, Jacinda Bracken.
The woman he was with.
Exactly. If her statement holds up, Michael is probably safe.
So Drew's low blow, as the sources call it.
His scheme is apparently to pay Jacinda, pay her to recant her statement, say she lied or was mistaken, and then get her to leave town immediately, disappear.
If she does that.
Michael's alibi collapses completely, leaving him wide open to Drew's accusations, whatever the PCPD digs up. The sources confirm Michael is understandably really worried this week about whether his alibi will hold. He knows how fragile it is.
And Martin Gray, is he in on the framing part, or does he just think he's discrediting a witness? Because paying off a witness to frame your nephew for murder, that's a huge risk, even for Martin.
That's a great question. The sources don't specify Martin's level of awareness. Drew might be manipulating his own lawyer, making it seem like Jacinda is just unreliable. But either way, it shows Drew is completely unhinged now, willing to sacrifice anyone for his own freedom and potentially financial gain from the Q estate chaos.
This is exactly what they meant by scummy. It's moved beyond corporate espionage into actively trying to ruin lives, his own family's lives.
And if you connect the dots, this also creates maximum internal chaos for the Quartermaines right when they need a united front against Ronnie.
Right. If Michael's fighting potential murder charges, he can't focus on defending the estate.
Which leaves an opening for Drew to swoop in and grab whatever leverage, whatever piece of the pie he can manufacture. It's incredibly calculated.
Okay, as if that wasn't enough legal fallout from Drew's orbit, the investigation into who shot Drew is also tearing families apart.
Oh, yeah. The Robinson and Ashford families are imploding.
Curtis and Portia's marriage is basically done because Curtis used Jordan, his ex, as his alibi, revealing that emotional infidelity.
And Portia is assuming the worst about Curtis, partly because her own alibi is Dr. Isaiah Gannon. And the sources are pretty clear. We know what they were doing.
So infidelity on both sides, essentially, or at least perceived infidelity driving them apart.
Exactly. And this is where the ripple effect gets really dark. Because Portia and Isaiah were together, that provides her only solid alibi for the time Drew was shot. which then opens the door for Marshall Ashford, Curtis's dad,
Oh.
to actually talk to Curtis
Mm-hmm.
about the possibility that Portia might be guilty of shooting Drew.
Marshall thinks Portia might have shot Drew, his own daughter-in-law.
He's not just randomly speculating. He's reminding Curtis that Portia had motive. She felt betrayed by Drew. She has a history of targeting people she feels threatened by. Remember, she drugged Curtis before.
Wow, yeah, that drugging incident was extreme. It showed she's willing to go pretty far to protect Trina, or herself.
Exactly. Marshall sees a potential pattern. So if the police push Portia for an alibi, she has a terrible choice.
Name Isaiah, confess the affair.
Or risk being accused of the shooting herself, because she has no other explanation for where she was.
And the sources say the reveal of her infidelity to Curtis is inevitable, and he may call her a hypocrite.
Which, let's be honest, given her past outrage at Curtis, it's a fair charge. Hypocrisy all around, maybe.
This is just devastating for Trina Robinson, caught in the middle of all this. She's trying to get answers from Jordan, the police commissioner.
Who basically dismisses her, tells her there's nothing she needs to do.
And she was trying to talk to Curtis, her stepdad, but he's drowning in his own marital crisis now. The layers of deceit just around Drew's shooting are staggering. It's hitting the Quartermains, the Ashfords, the Robinsons.
The three core families destabilized by one event and the lies surrounding it. And just when you think Portia might try to, I don't know, salvage things.
Yeah.
The sources give us this really eyebrow-raising detail. Portia's seen talking to someone at the hospital. She says she reconsidered.
Reconsidered what? Her marriage.
Yeah.
Her job.
Well, the speculation isn't that she's talking to Britt about work. It's more likely she's talking to Isaiah.
Oh, no.
And the source speculates she might be reconsidering ending things with him, maybe even hopping right back in the back of the bed with him.
Seriously? Why?
Could be she feels totally abandoned by Curtis. Or maybe she feels indebted to Isaiah for being her alibi, her only protection. Either way, it suggests she might be doubling down on the affair, choosing that path out of desperation or perceived necessity. It's a moral compromise fueled by the crisis.
All right, so we've established Drew was trying to claw his way in through criminal means. Let's get back to the main event, the direct, high-stakes battle for the actual Quartermain legacy. It starts with Ronnie showing up at the crypt.
Right. Monica's newly revealed biological sister.
And she is wasting zero time on grief, apparently. She insists the Quartermain mansion, the entire estate, is legally hers, not asking for a share, claiming the whole thing.
A full-blown claim. And crucially, this claim has some backstory that makes it seem like a serious threat, not just noise. The sources confirmed that Martin Gray, the lawyer, yes, him again.
He's everywhere this week.
He is. He had actually found a letter written by Ronnie. He came to talk to Monica about this letter, but she passed away before they could have that conversation.
Wow, okay, that's the smoking gun then. It suggests Ronnie's claim isn't just random. Martin was already investigating it. It might have real legal legs.
Exactly. This wasn't just an opportunistic lunge after Monica died. Ronnie, or maybe her lawyer, seems to have been building this case for a while.
Possibly exploiting some loophole related to Monica's biological lineage, something that maybe superseded her adoption status regarding certain ancestral assets.
Precisely. And the fact that Martin Gray, who, let's face it, represents some very shady people but is also a competent lawyer.
Annoying but competent.
The fact he was involved suggests the claim might have a decent chance of success, or at least causing major problems. Finding that letter indicates this was actively being pursued before Monica's death locked down the estate.
So if that letter contains specifics, a trust, a property title, some pre-Quartermain asset Monica inherited through her biological line,
then Ronnie's claim could be surprisingly legitimate under specific inheritance laws, regardless of Monica spending decades as a Quartermain. It's a 5-alarm fire for the family's entire infrastructure.
Well, if there's a 5-alarm fire at the Quartermain mansion, you know who grabs the fire hose.
Tracy Quartermain.
Exactly. We just talked about how they had to find her, rush her back for the funeral, and now she's immediately going head-to-head with Ronnie. Right there, probably during the funeral reception. Classic Tracy.
She is motivated by pure, unadulterated Quartermain pedigree. She is absolutely determined to fight like crazy, the sources say, to keep that estate firmly in Quartermain hands.
But here's where it gets really interesting, according to the analysis.
Her specific preference for who should ultimately control it.
Yeah. She wants the estate to land in Michael's hands.
Michael Corinthos. Not Ned Quartermain, her own son.
That's a massive shift for Tracy, isn't it? The ultimate Q snob, who usually despises the Corinthos influence. Now she's championing Michael.
It suggests either a serious lack of faith in Ned's ability to handle this threat, or maybe An acknowledgement that Michael, despite his Corinthos baggage, has the ruthless instincts needed to fight off someone like Ronnie. Or maybe both.
Tracy's always been cynical about her kid's abilities without her pulling the strings.
Absolutely. So by choosing Michael, she might be prioritizing the institution, the Quartermain name, the money, the legacy over her own direct familial preference. It also highlights she understands Michael is under attack himself, with Drew framing him.
So she needs to shore him up as the successor, the fighter.
Exactly. She knows he won't back down.
Okay, let's pause here for that synthesis point the sources hinted at. Look at the contrast. It's stark.
It really is.
You have Tracy, the ultimate guard dog of the Quartermain name, fighting aggressively to defend the estate, even championing Michael, who isn't technically a blood Q heir through Alan. Her motives are territorial, sure, but ultimately protective of the legacy.
And then, standing in direct opposition, you have Drew Kane.
The adult, non-related hanger-on.
Using secrets, lies, underhanded criminal tactics framing his nephew, potentially bribing witnesses just to grab a tiny, undeserved piece of something he never earned. His motives are purely selfish, destructive.
It really crystallizes that theme for the week. Who's loyal to the legacy and who's just loyal to the money? Tracy, however abrasive, is fighting for Quartermain history.
While Drew's actions are proving he values the money and his own survival far more than any family ties he ever pretended to have, his descent seems complete now.
All right, let's shift gears completely. From boardroom battles and scummy schemes to medical miracles, or maybe medical conspiracies. Detective Nathan West is back.
The resurrection.
And the immediate aftermath is playing out right there in the hospital. Nina Reeves is the first person he really interacts with.
Which makes sense given their history. She grew up believing he was her brother James. They shared that traumatic childhood.
So she asks the obvious question. How are you here? This follows that cliffhanger where he squeezed her hand, woke up, opened his eyes.
And crucially, sources confirm he smiled at her. A smile of recognition.
Okay, recognition. That suggests his memories, his past. It's accessible. He knows who she is.
And that's the immediate status update we get. The source confirms he is completely intact.
Intact, meaning?
He knows who he is. He has all his faculties. He recognizes people. This isn't someone with amnesia. It's not a confused clone, not some zombie figure. This is Nathan West, the one presumed dead 7 years ago.
Wow. Okay, so the central mystery instantly shifts, right? It's not who is this guy, it's how did he survive, where has he been for 7 years, and who has the power, the medical tech maybe, to pull this off.
Exactly. If he's completely intact after 7 years, that rules out a simple near-death experience or a short coma.
Someone had to have maintained his body, his life force somehow. Suspended animations, some kind of advanced tech we haven't really seen.
It points to a highly sophisticated operation. Something beyond typical medical intervention. Which leads to the next question. How is his mother, Liza Obrecht, reacting? She's the queen of shady medical schemes, but also, his mother.
Yeah, what's her reaction?
She is described as absolutely shocked. Finding out Nathan is alive and in the hospital floors her.
Genuinely shocked. Or is it an act? It's lies after all.
That's what the source questions. We'll find out if she truly had no idea, no inkling that he might have survived, if her shock is authentic.
Then even the great manipulator, Liza Obrecht, was kept completely out of the loop on this one.
Which is huge. It suggests whoever orchestrated Nathan's return is extremely powerful, extremely secretive, maybe even more so than Liza herself. Her own usual power structure might have been bypassed or even usurped here.
Which brings us right back to that dark, messy Faison-Obrecht dynamic. It always involves kidnapping, secret labs, weird experiments.
Always.
So Nathan's return forces the question, is Britt Westbourne's boss, the one who orchestrated her resurrection, also their biological father, Cesar Faison?
It seems overwhelmingly likely. Faison has to be involved somehow.
And was Faison involved in bringing Nathan back too? Did he save both his kids?
The connections feel undeniable. Faison is the prime suspect, the ultimate puppet master here. But if he did resurrect both Nathan and Britt, the family dynamic gets incredibly complicated.
How so?
The source highlights this critical uncertainty. Okay, Faison brings them both back from the dead, fine. But did he let them know about each other? Did they interact during these missing years?
Why keep them separate?
Good question. Maybe he wanted to pit them against each other, use them as separate pawns in different schemes. We just don't know. But now, both of Lysol and Faison's kids are back.
Yeah.
It's a potential time bomb.
And Nathan himself, he's been gone 7 years. That's an eternity in soap time. He must have a whole history now, a secret life, experiences, things the audience and everyone in Port Charles needs to know. The sources confirm he's going to be dropping some bombshells.
7 years is long enough for anything, really. A new identity, deep involvement with some criminal group, maybe forced captivity in a hidden lab like Britt was. We need to know what he did, who he worked for, willingly or not.
So the strategic question is timing. When does he drop these bombshells?
Exactly. Does he unload everything immediately on Nina? She's the one he recognizes, the one he sees as his sister, James. Does he rely on that childhood bond?
Whoa.
Or does he hold back? Strategically wait until he can talk to his mother Lies, try and figure out who he can trust, what the safest move is.
Given Liesel's shock, maybe he assumes she wasn't involved in his disappearance. He might see her as his only potential ally, even if she is volatile.
It's a very real possibility. He might view her as the only one who could potentially help him navigate this terrifying situation, assuming she's not part of whatever kept him hidden.
That sets up a fantastic cliffhanger going forward. Is Nathan's return a true miracle, or is it just the opening move for some terrifying high-tech crime syndicate making its presence known in Port Charles?
Possibly led by his own father, using Nathan as a loyal operative, or maybe a brainwashed one. The answers he holds could completely reorganize the forces of good and evil in town. #tag outro. So just to recap the absolute highest stakes for this week, September 29th through October 3rd, you've got Nathan's secret life, those impending bombshells threatening to expose maybe a global conspiracy around his resurrection.
Huge implications there.
Then you have Drew Kane's really low-blow scheme, paying off a witness, framing Michael, trying to grab Quartermain cash in this spectacular act of, well, scummy self-preservation.
Yeah, scummy feels right.
And underpinning it all is the high-stakes battle for the Quartermain legacy itself against Ronnie, Monica's mysterious biological sister, whose legal claim seems far more threatening than anyone might have guessed initially.
So the entire Quartermain family integrity, legally, morally, is just hanging by a thread, attacked from the outside by Ronnie.
And poisoned from the inside by Drew. It's a pincer movement, really.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, let's circle back to the man who seems to embody that internal poison right now, Drew Kane.
He's in the hospital, shot, gets told basically, be better, and his immediate reaction is to focus all his energy on destroying Michael and paying off a witness. All for a sliver of an estate he has no legal right to.
It really signals a definitive turn, doesn't it?
Okay.
Away from any kind of hero role he might have once had. His willingness now to bribe, manipulate, frame family. It shows a depth of villainy that honestly rivals some of the most established bad guys in Port Charles.
Which leads us to the provocative question we want to leave with you, the listener. Given the depth of Drew's scheme now, his total moral collapse, his willingness to use violence or frame others for it just to get family money, does his descent into this kind of calculated, almost petty villainy, does that signal a permanent shift? Does it make him, in a weird way, a more dangerous, maybe more predictable, and therefore potentially more lethal adversary for Port Charles than even the returned Nathan West? Nathan's goals were still a complete mystery, after all. Drew seemed terrifyingly clear. That's a really interesting question. Who's the bigger threat long term?
That's the answer you'll have to find out next time. Until then, keep digging.